What is up? What is up? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Sports and Run Pure Bets. I'm your host, Spread Astaire. I will be flying solo today, but we will be breaking down the NBA card with all the aplomb that we usually do. I'm looking forward to it, man. I have a lot of strong takes about tonight's card. Let's jump in. But hey, guys, since I'm flying solo, I'll have plenty of time to talk about the chat. Our guy Chad Umberger talking about the Bulls. Man, I thought that was going to die last night. I thought that play was dead. Flipped to a different game, watched the end, and then came back. I said, hey, this is pretty nice. I thought I was running pure when the Wizards almost came in backdoor cover too, but hey, can't ask for too much, right? I mean, Chad's right. It did not feel great until the fourth quarter. I think they outscored them like 39-13 or something in the fourth. Something ridiculous. I don't know if it's a better performance for the Bulls or more disappointing for the Boston Celtics, but we will jump back in. And our guy Fila says, is it Fila or Fila? You have to let me know. Bulls. Celtics might be a little fraudulent. You know, I was listening to my guy Junior Brown. If you guys know him, he's a real good sports handicapper, and he was talking before that Celtics game about how they weren't moving the ball and they were playing too much hero ball with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and then Marcus Smart comes out and says the very same thing after the game. So it's pretty cool when there's a handicapper that gives out something that definitely turns out to be true. And that's what I do here. I love the NBA. I love everything that we do here. So I'm always listening to the other guys that do this. I don't think that I know it all or anything. I'm happy to learn. Patty O'Neill had the Clippers minus 13. Bad choice. That's rough, Patty. But we're going to get you back on the winning track today, and we are going to jump into it right now. The first game that we were talking about is the Milwaukee Bucks. They are -4. Heading down to Detroit to take on the Pistons. Now, this should be a fun game because Cade Cunningham will play again. A rather, I'd say unspectacular debut would be the way to say it. Unspectacular debut for Cade Cunningham here. But of course, he's a rookie. He's only looking to get better. A very young man, plenty of potential. So the Detroit Pistons have to be happy about that. Yeah, Aaron, Denver was pretty bad too. We liked Denver yesterday. Both Bobby and I thought Denver was a good play. That did not turn out too well. But back to the Pistons game here. So they're laying 4, and you're thinking, why? The Pistons aren't very good. Why are they only laying 4 against this team? And it's simply because of the injury report of the Milwaukee Bucks. Let's take a look. Chris Middleton out. Drew Holiday still out. Brook Lopez still out. That's 3 out of the 5 starters from last year's championship team. So this is definitely a Giannis only team, right? So, who's going to jump in? We got Grayson Allen playing. Rodney Hood's going to get a little playing time here. He could be effective here and there. Sadiq Bey will be playing as well for the Detroit Pistons. So I thought this game was tough to get involved with. I obviously lean Milwaukee. I mean, they're so much better, and Giannis is by far going to be the best player on the floor. But this is a weakened Milwaukee Bucks team here. I still like the -4, but not enough to really get involved and place a wager on it. I think I'll wait and look. The Bucks kind of struggled without these 3 players, right? They went into Utah. I thought they might do all right there. So they've lost 3 in a row due to these injuries. They lost at home to Minnesota by 5, at home to San Antonio by 9, and then they lost by Utah to 12. So progressively getting worse, and I think that's a sign of the wear and tear of the extra usage that the Bucks players are having to incur. Still lean the -4 here, but there's no way to get involved. Why don't we wait and see? And I think there's much better spots on this board. I think the over/under 212. So here's the deal, right? All these numbers look too low, but they keep going under, so that's why these numbers are slow. Do you remember last year these numbers were in 220s, 230s? And people will say it's because of the fouls, but I also think it's the ability of defenders to close out without worrying that any slight bit of contact will be caused a foul on a three-point shooter, because the last thing you want to do in the NBA is foul a three-point shooter. It's one thing if you foul a guy going for a layup. Coaches are going to be fine with that. Fouling three-point shooters, big no-no. With the defenders much less afraid to challenge, close out, get that hand in the face, we've seen a drop in three-point shooting as well. So it's kind of an unaffected. It's not necessarily the lack of free throws that are causing the scoring to down. It's the fact that the defenses can be more aggressive. I personally love it. I don't need totals in the 230s and 240s every night. I'm fine with this 212. Like I said, first glance, it seems low. I'm just getting the model up and running now. I was listening to Nate Duncan talk. I love listening to all this NBA stuff, and he said, "Hey, he's better statistics than me, right? Ex-lawyer, loves this stuff." And he said, really, it takes 8 games. Once you have 8 games in, you can really start to do the predictive model. We are almost there. I have it up and running, but I'm still really going more off feel and what I've watched. One of the great things about doing this full time is I camp down about 4 o'clock every evening, and I sit here till at least 9, depending on how that evening game's going. And my night's going. Sometimes I'll skip the fourth quarter, maybe of a Clippers game or a West Coast game. But I'm out here. I'm in front of it. I've seen every team multiple times, so I'm relying more on that as well. And in the next couple games, I'll have much more faith in the model. Let's talk about some of these comments here. Eric Chen, what's up? Eric says, Giannis has historically smacked Detroit. That makes sense, right? Because what is the issue here? Isaiah Stewart's just too small. Jeremy Grant actually should be okay against him, but they do have problems matching up with him. But let's be fair, almost everybody in the NBA has matched up with him. I think it's also the short road trip, right? It's not much travel. Pretty easy to adjust. So I agree with you there, Eric. Degenerate Jetter. Not Jeter, Jetter. He says the Pistons are bad. Yeah, you're not really giving us groundbreaking information there, but we'd have to agree. One thing I want to say about the Pistons, though, is they're athletic, they play hard, and they're heading in the right direction. I think they're well coached under Dwayne Casey, and in different circumstances, I will be looking to grab the points with them. And I do think that they might be undervalued as the season continues. Right now, I will stay away. Let's talk about, I just read about this morning. So he's talking about the different balls being used, and they switched from Spalding to Wilson now, right? And it's funny because I didn't hear anything about it for the first week and a half of play, and now all of a sudden it's coming out that they don't like the new balls, and of course, that could have an impact. But hey, these guys are ballers, man. They should be able to score with anything, right? They should be able to score with those little cheap rubber indoor-outdoor balls that I dribble around my garage when I'm trying to get a little workout in. But when you're talking about these totals dropping 8 points, which really isn't, it's a couple threes and a layup in the grander scheme of things. Yes, a different ball could matter. Jetter, PG stinks? No. Paul George is a great player. Had a bad night, but I think he's actually almost underrated. And in daily fantasy, I thought he's provided a great value. I think he's one of the best spend-ups on the board. And I think that bad playoff performance after he dubbed himself Playoff P has people thinking he's worse than he really is. I think he is a legitimate top 10 player. And with this increased usage this season, we are seeing that. So I will disagree with you there. What's up, Jonathan Nelson, our resident Lakers fan? Jonathan and I are friendly, even though I do not like his favorite team. I do respect them, though, so I give you that. Eric's talking about he put up in 27 in the second half alone. Playoff P. See, it all comes back to that, man. Just you know what the moral of the story here is? Don't give yourself a nickname. Back to the games here. The Bucks -4 is my lean. Not enough to play. I think there's better spots. Lean towards the over. But like I said, anytime you lean towards the over here, I think you stay away. I think you target unders and bet them. Unders were 5-4 last night. Unders have been hitting like crazy. These numbers have drastically dropped, but I want to see it before I get involved. Yeah, PG was pretty good. He hit some nice shots down the end. He's still mad about the Oklahoma City days. My guess, we the people. Of course, losing Kawhi is going to be really tough. Hey, guys, thanks for the active chat today, and let's move on to the next game, but I'm going to make sure to try and read and address most or all of the comments. Here's a game that I like, right? And this is where, not living in a cocoon and doing this stuff and being on Twitter and networking and seeing what other content producers are putting out, seeing just what other normal people that I follow on Twitter, right? Some guys in the chat, I follow you guys, you follow back, right? Just see what everyone says about basketball. So I like the Heat last night. I hit it at the opener, right? I'm feeling pretty good about the play. The whole world is on the Heat. I don't know a capper that I've found that is on the Mavericks tonight, and that worries me. When the whole world is on his side, it makes you think, what have I missed? What have I missed? Because we know the books aren't that good. So it started at -1 out to 2, 2.5. How far does this go? Are you guys telling me you think the Heat are -4? You incorporate home court, that makes them 6 to 7 better on a neutral. And so here's where it gets crazy, right? I almost think that with the way that Dallas is playing, that is right. The Heat are a more complete team. They have the ability to defend, and they're not completely relying on one man. Now, how can our bet get busted? well, Luka can go off because he can beat any defender, even the absolutely best defenders, even guys like, Jimmy Butler, PJ Tucker, Kyle Lowry, Bam. These are all great defenders, right? Luka can beat all of them. So that's how this bet goes bust. Porzingis most likely out again. Let me double check this injury report. Yes, officially out, as well as Trey Burke. And you know what I think they really are going to miss more is Maxi Kleber, because Porzingis hasn't really been getting it done on either end of the floor, and I'd say that almost at this point he is a liability on the defensive end and on the offensive end. I don't know if he's providing what he used to. I was hoping that this would be the year that he finally came back full strength from that ACL injury he suffered before the trade from the Knicks. It doesn't seem to be the case, and if that's the issue, if he doesn't get better, right, then Dallas has a lot of salary cap space being eaten up by a guy who's barely contributed anything. I think that's one of the big problems of this roster. Talk about the positives on this Dallas roster. Of course, Jalen Brunson is great. You can't ignore him when it comes to daily fantasy. Tim Hardaway Jr. can get it done here, and I think Reggie Bullock's been a good pickup. So I like the Heat here. A little concerned, but I'll tell you what, if I was in a cocoon and I didn't know that everybody else in the world liked the Heat, I'd probably like it a little more. So I think my hesitancy is a little bit superstitious and not based in fact, logic, or reasoning. That being said, superstitions happen for a reason, because we've seen this all happen before, where every side, every capper is on one game, and it all stays the same. Regardless, using the empirical evidence, using the tape, and using the numbers that both teams have produced this season, the Miami Heat at minus 2.5 is the right play. He agrees here. Let's see what else we got going on here. Before we get to the next game, we got OJL asking, is live betting over under a great strategy? Yes, it is. On the live show, we do that a lot. What I like to do is I like to get like what I would call like a free teaser. But you have to be watching the game, because sometimes this doesn't work. So you have to watch and feel. You can't blindly do it. But once it gets to like 7 to 10 points off the original number, the idea is that it will end up getting closer to the original number. Now, at this point, I would say that the books in the market are not that sharp, so I don't trust doing that. But as the season continues, right, and you're noticing the totals landing closer and closer to the closing lines, that's when this gets really effective, because the teams aren't dialed in and the books aren't dialed in. As the season continues, I think it's a great strategy. If you can grab like 7 to 10 points off the original number, usually regresses towards there. But let's wait. Let's not do it yet. Let's wait for things to come out, because the books have shown they haven't adjusted to the new market, which is why unders are hitting at a ridiculous rate. Heat by 10. You know what? Hey, we were worried about yesterday, that Philadelphia bet, right? Because I gave it out at 6.5. And then it drops all the way to 2.5. And I said I still liked it at 2. And then it's like, wow, how did we cash the original spread? So maybe that'll be the case tonight. We, the people, have been running good, right? Pretty close to running pure. If Washington hit yesterday, we're running pure. Running good, though. We definitely got to stay there. Eric Chang's talking about Memphis was in a bad spot. They ran them off the court. This feels like a bad spot as well. Road trip and Mavs haven't looked fantastic. Miami is better, but I can't bet the spot. Hey, Eric, I'm with you there, right? It is a tough spot, and Miami has traditionally not been good on the road. But you know what I like about this Miami team when I'm betting them this year? I think that sweep to the Bucks really opened their eyes, right? They were the defending Eastern Conference champions, right? They had a little bit of swag, and they really got put in their place, right? And I think that kind of humbled them. I think they're back to more of the hardworking, quote-unquote Heat culture roots that we've used to seeing. So I don't think that we will see the same lit up on the road that we usually do. But hey, Eric, you could be right. So that will be tough. But I still like the Heat here a lot. OJL agrees with me. He says Jimmy can guard Luka. Hey, I mean, that could be the case, and I would love for that to happen. My idea making this bet is, even if Luka does go off, I don't trust the supporting cast to keep up with the rest of the Heat sharpshooters. Tyler Hero's playing so much better. Duncan Robinson can get it done from anywhere. Bam Adebayo's been a force in the middle. I think he's averaging like 17. What's he averaging? 17 and 14 or something. I mean, he's just been everywhere. Even if he doesn't, I still think we have a chance to cash. But hey, if Jimmy guards Luka and holds him down, we are definitely going to be in a great spot. He hit the ultimate spread. That's the way to play the NBA. Guys, if you have a book, right? So I'll give out the Heat at minus 2.5, because a lot of people don't have this option. I use Bookmaker Offshore. They allow me to sell points, right? I do that a lot, right? Because how many times does it land between that number? If I can get a 2.5, move it to 3.5, then I get plus money on every bet. Now, if I go 50%, I'm in the black rather than being a little bit down for the year. So alternate spreads are a great way to go. We the people. The Thunder were winning with 2 minutes left. Yeah, I mean, that's one regular season game, and you know that the Clippers probably overlooked them. Degenerate also looked at the fact that, hey, it was a fun weekend, right? I mean, I went out and about, so I can't imagine what it'd be like to be a millionaire athlete going out and about this weekend. So I wouldn't read too much into that one poor result. Degenerate, a lot of these teams do play down to their level of competition, and all they care about is getting the win, which is unfortunate for us when we're expecting them to cover the spread. Eric's saying the Clippers got great shots all night. It was a bad shooting night, and they still came back and won, and that's a sign. I wouldn't say they're a great team, but they're a good team, and I think they're definitely a playoff hopeful. Sean thinks the Clippers are garbage. They got lucky last night. OJL's talking about tonight's game. He says Miami has the rest advantages. They last played 2 days ago. Heat first quarter. I don't run first quarter numbers. I know people that do, and they can actually be wildly aberrant to the full game spread, so I can't answer that correctly. I'm sorry about that. And Bam rebounds be a solid look. Yes, and I think Bam's also in play if you're building a DFS lineup as well. I was not able to get a DFS team member today, so you'll have to watch the Hardwood live show on Run Pure Sports YouTube channel, and then of course become a member and watch the Up to Lock show. Head over to runpuresports.com, use the promo code GETBETS to become a member, and that way you can get access to my plays as well. Not to toot my own horn, but I'm off to a pretty good start this NBA season. Let's move to the next game. My Sacramento Kings have getting love in the market. They're plus 8.5 right now. This opened 9.5 last night. I hit it at 9.5. I definitely like this look here today. As each point goes, though, I think the value is there, but I think the market is correct in this game. I think they opened it up too high, because what happens if you're a national NBA fan, right, and you're just rooting for your team like you lived in Indiana or Chicago, you're not really paying too much attention to the Kings because they never make the playoffs, they never win, and they're never really important. The thing is, this is a good young team that plays fast, plays good defense, and now they're finally talented. Last year, their defense was so bad, and it shows you what the difference one defensive stopper can make. They bring Davion Mitchell, and it feels like the whole team's defense has gotten better. Now, am I going to sprinkle on the money line? I don't know. The Jazz are so good, it almost might be a situation, where the Jazz have a bad shooting night, come back and win, right? And you get the cover, but not the money line there. But I do like the Kings, even at this number here. I think they're a hard, scrappy team here that are going to play and cover a lot of games, even though they might lose a lot of games. I also think that their regular season win total at like 36 to 37 is about right here. So this isn't like an absolutely terrible team. It's basically a team that's on the fringe of the playoffs and probably one or two pieces away. Eric, you know what? And so Tyler wasn't here today, but he said that too. Not the points, rebounds. He took just the rebounds at 13.5, but I have to agree with you. I think Rudy has a big night going against Rashawn Holmes, who is a good defender, but this will be very interesting. It'll be a tough matchup for him, and I like playing Rashawn Holmes in daily fantasy. My concern tonight was him, of course, going against Rudy Gobert. Maybe scared money don't make none, but I wasn't able to jam Rashawn Holmes into the lineup tonight. Let's talk about OJL's comment. The Kings have been playing hard on defense this year. They may be underpriced for a while. This year, a good number today. So OJL, we agree here. And the market agrees, but it's not like every single capper has talked about this game. I like this game a little more because it feels like the silent money, right? Not the guys like me who tweet out all our plays and that are involved in sites, right? And that do content and are really vocal and giving our opinions and the reasons why, right? The silent money is moving this number, which to me is a good sign. So I do like the Kings here today at plus 8.5. Totals, guys, I'm staying away from totals unless I'm playing an under here, and I'm not going to play an under on the 221.5. And you know what's crazy? Compared to last year when totals were closing 242, 243, today's highest total on the board is this Kings game, 221.5. Highest total on the board. So I like this new NBA personally. I hope you guys do too. I don't think he had, I'm not sure of that, Degenerate. I follow a lot of NBA news. I did not see any Rudy surgery news, so I will double check that for you. And last meeting, Rudy went for 17 points and 20 rebounds. I would check because I know Holmes did miss some time last year, Eric, so we should make sure, because if that was against who did they have last year? Was it Alex Len? I can't remember. Anyways, their backup center wasn't that good. And if it was against Bagley, then that's absolutely terrible. You know, it's funny. Number 2 overall pick, Marvin Bagley, has played like 10 minutes so far this year. Definitely out of the Kings rotation, and I'm all for it. I think that was a good idea. Let's move on to our next game, the New Orleans Pelicans, plus 11.5. They are heading to Phoenix to take on the Suns. So you think, boy, this number seems high, right? Until you take a look at the injury report. Not only is Zion out, and who knows when Zion will be back. It's really too bad. That young man going to New Orleans with all that good, rich food, right? Kind of taking the Jameis Winston approach to physical fitness there. So who knows how long Zion will be out for. But now Brandon Ingram is doubtful as well. That means the hopes of the offense fall on the shoulders of Devontae Graham. And wait, what's that? He's probable. Oh my gosh. If Graham is out, then this is absolutely unplayable no matter how many he does. If Graham plays and Ingram sits, I think that you play Graham in DFS. I think it'll be a popular play, though, almost like Andre Drummond yesterday. Regardless, he will be chucking. As far as looking at this game from a betting perspective, though, I mean, do you want to weigh 11.5 with this Phoenix Suns team so far? This Phoenix team has not necessarily been playing that well. Let me pull up their most recent results so I'm not going off the top of my head and I can make sure I give you the specific correct information. Yeah, let's look at the Phoenix game log. Okay, so they won over the Cavaliers. Actually, I think that's an okay victory there. They did not cover the spread, however. They won by 9. I like the Cavaliers a lot. They lost to the Kings when they were an 8-point favorite. They lost to the Blazers. And their last good performance, we have to go all the way back to October 22nd when they beat the Lakers. But at that point, I don't think the Lakers were as good as they were now. That was when they were playing all the old dudes, right? So Phoenix 3-4 so far. Not a lot to be excited about. So are we really going to lay 11.5 with them? I can't do that personally. Let's look at the Pelicans. They most recently covered over the Knicks. They lost by 4 to the Kings, and in hindsight, with this team, the Kings should have won by more. They lost by Atlanta, but they did cover because that was a 5-point spread, and they lost 102-99. And then, the only team they've really played good against this season is Minnesota. They played them tough in the first game and were able to cover. Then they beat them in the comeback game. But other than that, the Pelicans have not been playing very well. They are 1-6 this year, missing Zion a lot. Wonder if he's going to ask out, which would be too bad because I don't like all this player movement. I'd rather them, build something of their own, build their own legacy. Shout out to Giannis for doing that and not taking the easy way out. So when it comes to the Pelicans game here, I mean, I guess I lean the 11, but I'm completely fine staying away from this game. After I've done that, let's check in on the chat. Eric says Rudy's hit his number in every game since one. Holmes was in. It was this season. Oh my gosh, how did I forget that, Eric? I've had a lot going on, Eric, and I'm also trying to cut back on my caffeine. So even though it doesn't sound like it, how fast I'm talking, sometimes I do forget things. So thank you for reminding me. I love having you guys in the chat. Our guys just laughing at New Orleans. Yeah, it's not so bad. Did we hear the news about? Yeah, it's unfortunate. So really too bad. Don't drink and drive. I mean, that's just terrible. Could have easily been avoided. Staying away from the Suns game unless it's the under. Now that's an interesting look, we the people. That is an interesting look. Like I said, we're not going to play these totals unless we're playing the under. We do believe that Phoenix is going to have problems scoring. You know what, we the people, you just hit it on the head. That's why I love the chat, guys. I was actually more focused on the side. I did not grab. That's the way to go in this game. If you want to get involved in this game, play under 214. We do not think that the Pelicans are going to be able to score very well against Phoenix. And Phoenix runs a slow pace with Chris Paul, right? He's a veteran. He doesn't want to get up on the floor. He doesn't want to get in a track meet with these younger guys. He knows where his bread is buttered, and they can crush these guys in the half court, right? They got 8 and down low. Booker's great at creating the half court, and they do a good job of penetrating and dishing, and they got a bunch of three-point shooters there. I think it's a slow-paced game. I do think Pelicans have problems scoring. We the people's on the right path. I do like that under a lot. I think I will be betting that. Thank you for that one, we the people. Willie Green will definitely want to beat his old team. Yeah, but you know what? I mean, I want to play in the NBA too. Just wanting something doesn't make it happen. But you are making a good point there. He thinks that Joval's a smash play in DFS. His usage is going to be nuts. Yeah, I think you're right? Graham, I think you stack Graham. You shot Graham and Joval. I mean, Joval's been awesome. He's actually the most efficient player, and he should be because he's a center, right? But most efficient shooting percentage on the Pelicans. They will be running everything through him. Let me just take a quick look. If we were to do that, we want to run it back with someone. Who would we pull up there if we wanted to run it back there? Most likely you guys have to check to Run Pure Sports to get the real good one. But let me just double check and see who Phoenix, who would be a good potential to run it back here. with. Of course, Booker at 8K is not a bad look, actually. Chris Paul's only 7,600. I think I might like that a little better because I think he fills up your peripherals better. Miles Bridges all the way down to 5,200. Yeah, boy, it's going to be tough to run it back. And we don't need to run it back every single time. I think if you do run it back, Chris Paul is your best option there. DFS just take Nickeil Alexander-Walker and Joel. So, boy, we're going to stack this game like we stacked Philly last night. We'll see how that turns out, man. I was so excited to get Tyrese Maxey in there. And I think I put him in every lineup, and then he threw the snowflake up on me. So that was disappointing. How many is too many? I'm not the exact expert to ask. I'm sure on Hardwood Live they will be addressing that. So we'll take it from there. But I think this is a game that you are going to target, especially on the Pelicans sides if Brandon Ingram's out. If Brandon Ingram's in, I think this line moves to 9, and I would have more interest in the Pelicans. But I'm completely fine staying off this game in every single which way except for the under. The final game, the Houston Rockets are plus 10 against the Los Angeles Lakers. I don't know exact number right, but weren't the Lakers out? They were up by 20 something. I know that. And the Rockets came back and they got the cover. Now they run it back immediately. This is a young team in LA, and this is why I was kind of worried about it as well. Let's see how they play coming back. He's ruled out, huh? Well, Fantasy Basketball Monster, can you please update? He's still doubtful for me on my screen, but thank you. I will take your word for it because We the People's not here trolling. He's always providing good information here. So I consider that to be a nice, trustworthy source. Yeah, so he says Ingram already ruled out. If that's the case, yeah, all those DFS things that we talked about and hit that under from the betting perspective. Back to the Rockets and the Lakers. Yeah, really tough cover if you're a Lakers backer, but I don't know why you're laying 10 with the Lakers right now against anyone. I would kind of say the same deal. And once again, I mean, 218, it just seems so low, especially with the Rockets team that struggles on defense. I think it's under or no play. And once again, I think it's Rockets or no play. I wonder if the Lakers come out and just try to blow them out off of what happened, or if they don't even really care because, you and I are concerned about point spreads. They won regardless. So I don't know how concerned they are with that fourth quarter. Yeah, I think that was a great suggestion on the under there. So that is a very quick rundown. Well, 27 minutes. Hey, not bad for by myself. I appreciate everyone in the chat hanging out, but we will not leave without giving you guys a best bet. Boy, I do like that under, but I'm going to give that one to We the People. So We the People's best bet today will be the under. And for me, I'm going to go ahead, even though the market has moved it a little bit. Maybe you wait, maybe the Jazz take some comeback. I like the Kings plus 8.5 to keep it close against the Utah Jazz. I think they play it tough defensively. I think they will be able to. De'Aaron Fox, he's had a rough season. I think this is a night and a matchup where he can get loose because he does have a nice pull-up. He doesn't need to get to the rim just to finish. And if Rudy does try to collapse on him, he's real good at finding his teammates there. So I think this could be a breakout night for De'Aaron Fox. And last comment here about the Lakers game. I completely agree with you. I think if LeBron plays, I'm much more comfortable playing the under. If he doesn't, it's a complete stay away. Best bets, We the People gave out the under in the Phoenix Suns and the Pelicans. And right here, spread Astaire, I am on the Kings plus 8.5. He says Braun's going to play. Can't wait to hoop today. Yeah, after all that Halloween, right? He's ready to get out there, burn some of that Halloween candy off of our bellies. Thank you, everybody, for hanging out. Guys, we're here every day at 3:30 Eastern, except for on Thursday when we go at 2:30 Eastern. And that's the day we bring JSU on. Tomorrow, I will be back with Hoop. We know Hoop is great at DFS, cash games, and tournaments. Can't wait to hear his thoughts because he always helps me put together a great lineup. On Thursday, we will have JSU, and then Friday, we come back with AP. So we will have the full core for the rest of the week. Today was just kind of a wacky day, but I hope I did a good job giving you guys all the information for the winners you need. The best bets were under 214 on the Suns, plus 8.5 on the Sacramento Kings. Thank you to everybody in the chat for hanging out and making this a much better show, right? Just giving this something to talk about, riff about, kind of make the show kind of all over the place. But I think and you guys can give me feedback and let you know, I would rather have that where I'm jumping all over, but interacting with you guys and talking about the stuff as it comes. And we even found a play by interacting with the chat. So hopefully you guys like it. Let me know. Sounds like you guys had a great time. I can't wait to be hanging out with you tomorrow. Hopefully these two winners cash. Run pure.